Hey everybody, Asian Fahzaly Gamer here. I just want to take a second, put out a small disclaimer to let you all know that I am not a mental health professional. I just want to do my best to be able to help others with my own experience, and at the very least, hope to be able to point people in the right direction if they do need help. And of course, I also want to remind people that we do go into very heavy and potentially triggering subjects. So that is something to be considered. But I do appreciate your support for you being here. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy this episode of Fahzaly Advice. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fahzaly Advice. I want to take a second to say thank you to all of you for your support, for your submission, and for your views. As a content creator, it means everything to me, as I wouldn't be able to do this and do what I love without you, the viewer, the supporter. So thank you. And of course, I do truly hope that I have brought value in what I said in some way. And I do want to take a second to apologize to all of you that it was brought to my attention that I forgot to put in a disclaimer, and it will be included as it was included in this particular podcast for every podcast in the future, to let everybody know that I am not a trained mental health professional in any way. The only thing I want to do is to help others with my experience, or at the very least, point them in the right direction. And there will be times that we will deal with triggering issues, and that is something that needs to be considered and will be added in, and it, of course, is included in the disclaimer. Now then, let's move on to our first submission of the day, shall we? And this one is brought to us by Sun in the Middle, and they write, "Dear Fahza, thank you for taking the time to read my submission. I'm pretty messed up because I just found out that my parents decided they're gonna divorce. My 18th birthday is only weeks away, and now they're asking me things like, who do I want to live with while I finish out high school and go to college? My brother isn't taking it well at all. He's been locked in his room. He won't talk to me, my mom, or my dad about anything. It's pretty fucked up. I know my parents have been having problems, but they also have been going to therapy for it and shit. I don't even know how to feel about this. Yeah, I'm gonna be 18 soon, but I don't know. It feels like a lot to handle right now. School's gonna be over soon. I'm gonna have to say goodbye to a lot of friends, and now I might even have to say goodbye to my little brother. Their fighting at home has exploded ever since they decided to divorce, and it sounds like they are gonna have a custody battle. I know it sounds pretty fucking weak, but I'm scared. Scared of what's gonna happen. Scared my family is breaking apart. I could use some of that Fahzaly advice here, dude. Sincerely, Sun in the Middle." Well, Sun in the Middle. This is a big one. And I thank you for trusting me. And of course, I want to start off by addressing something right away. Because it's not weak. It's not weak to be afraid. It's not weak to be scared. And it's not weak to not be okay. This is a misconception that I see so many people have so often. And it's such a damaging thought process. Because there is no weakness in having emotion. That's being human. That's being alive. And I know that's really confusing, especially being so young. And I don't mean that in a condescending manner. No, I mean that in a sense that I understand. Even though it's been so long for me, I understand how jarring it can be to have these emotions and not know exactly where to go, to be uncertain. And here's the truth. And this might seem a little bit daunting, but the truth is, no matter how old you get, those feelings are always going to be there. And the only weakness is running away from them, is denying them. is being unable to accept them. There's nothing wrong with feeling them, though. I want you to understand that as you continue to grow and experience this world, because there is much for you to experience and see, and not all of it's going to be good. This is going to be a huge example of that. This is going to be a struggle for you and your brother, for your entire family, because here is the reality. Your family is breaking apart, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm sorry. And the only reason I'm telling you this is not because I'm trying to put you down. It's not because I'm trying to tell you that it's hopeless. I'm telling you this because there are inevitabilities. There are things that we can control, and there are things that we cannot. The number one thing that we can never control is other people, is what they will do. The only real control we have is over ourselves, over what we choose to do, over what we recognize, and what we are willing to see within ourselves, so that we can take action to be proactive rather than reactive. This is going to be a tough journey. I want to stress that for you, not because I want you to be stressed out, but because I want you to be ready for what you are going to face, because life will always have challenges. But no matter what challenges you face, there will never be too much. There will never be an instance where you will not be able to survive in one way or another. You will. As long as you are willing to see that you can do this, that you've been doing this. Since the first breath that you have taken, you have lived, adapted, and continued to survive. Nothing has changed. You will continue to be able to do so, no matter what adversities you will face throughout your life. Remember that as you face life, because that is something that many people so easily forget through this journey. And it is very difficult to hold on to that truth, and very easy to forget it. But as long as you continue to believe in you, you will be stronger for it in ways that you never thought possible. Now, there's going to be a lot to deal with here. A lot. Ultimately, the one thing that you need to remember is everything that's going on with your parents is not your fault. No matter what is said, no matter what happens, it is neither your fault nor your brother's fault. You nor your brother have the ability to control other people's actions. This isn't X-Men. You're not Professor Xavier. You don't have mind powers, so you can't make anybody do anything. What they do is their choice, including anything they will say to hurt you while they're hurting. Because it may happen, it may not happen. Hopefully you do not have to face this. But there are more often than not instances when people are going through some of the worst things, such as divorce, and they show just how ugly they can be. And the people that get hurt the most are the people that are closest to them. I'm not saying that that's gonna happen. I'm saying that that is what I have seen happen when people are pushed to their extremes. And divorce in its own self is an extreme situation, and it's not one anybody's ready to deal with. Especially when y'all had a family together. Both your brother and you are part of the equation, and hopefully they remember that in their consideration. But right now, what you need to focus on is you. Actually, not even right now. starting now, from this day forward, moving forward, focus on you, where you want to go, what you want to do, not on what their emotions are bringing them to do. Because their life is theirs. Yours is yours. You have much more ahead of you and so much to do and see. And I know you care about your little brother. The thing is, no matter what happens, no matter where y'all go or where this situation goes, you will always be his older brother and he will always be your younger brother. Circumstances changing will never change that. If you love him and he loves you, which I can pretty much tell from what you're saying here, because you mentioned him in such a caring way, you care, and you don't want to say goodbye. And you won't have to. As long as you are both alive, it's never gonna be goodbye. Hell, in truth, it's never even goodbye when people pass away. It's sad, it hurts, because they're not there to experience more of life with you, but they live on in their stories. They live on in your memories and in your love. And just because circumstances change doesn't mean that that love goes away. It doesn't suddenly disappear. And it's still there. Between you, your brother, even your mother and your father. Though they might not be together, they still love you. Despite what may happen here, I can't predict the future, and I cannot predict how people may act. That is one of the mysteries of life, because everybody reacts differently and they are unique in their reactions. But you need not ever put yourself in a mindset where you will blame yourself or think that you are to blame for anything that occurs between your parents. Remember that. I state that again because it is something that comes up more often than not, especially when it comes to those stuck in the middle of the divorce. Because that's what y'all are, both you and your brother. Y'all are the ones that are stuck in the middle of a conflict that you neither wanted nor were part of. And though that is unfair, it doesn't mean that it needs to define your future or who you will become or who you are. Those are their mistakes to make. You have your own to do and your own to experience. And yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And here's the thing. Here's something that I want everybody to remember. Therapy, mental health, getting professional help for your mental health is important. But it's not some fix-all. It's not going to be some solution that's ultimately going to lead to everything suddenly becoming better. That is not what therapy is. That is not what psychiatry is. That is not what maintaining your mental health is. It's not about being able to be okay all the time. It's about being able to be okay with not being okay. Be able to experience all of it, all of the emotions, and remember to accept them because they're part of you. They're nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing wrong with being sad. There's nothing wrong with being angry. It's only the actions that we take from our emotions that have consequences that would determine whether or not we've taken the right action or the wrong action. That in itself is subjective, though. But as scary as the future is going to be, it is also one of the most thrilling parts of life, not knowing where you're going to go. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay. Promise. I appreciate you trusting me with this and your bravery in sending in this submission. And I hope you know that I meant what I said, that between you and your brother, which I think is your biggest concern here, nothing will take you apart. Nothing will stop you two from being brothers. Well, so fear not, my friend. Keep going. Keep living. What happens, happens. But you will be fine. You will be. Focus on where you want to go. Like I said, you have goodbyes to say, you have school to finish, and then college to move on to. Your journey's just beginning, my friend. You got this. Alright? I hope that this helps. Truly do. Now, before we move on to our second submission, just a little word from our sponsor, me.
Well, hey there, everybody. Mr. Announcer and
Random Skull?
And we're here to let you know that Asian Faja Gamer also streams live on Twitch 5 days a week, and sometimes on YouTube.
And if you want to continue to support Asian Father Gamer, check out the links for his Twitch and his YouTube, all in the link tree.
That's right. Check out those links. Well, hey everybody. Did you know that Asian Faja Gamer has a Patreon?
That's right, and Random Skull is here to help tell you about it.
And that's right. We're doing this announcement together.
And when you subscribe to Patreon, you get to see content early, and of course make requests for content on YouTube, and even on Twitch and TikTok. It's all up to you.
And of course, if you want to support Asian Faja Gamer, check out these links. And of course, there are also links in the link tree.
And remember, when you subscribe to Patreon, you can also leave a message saying that Random Skull is better than Mr. Announcer.
Now, was that even really necessary?
Welcome back, my friends. Now, I hope that you found value in what I said with the first submission. And now, let's get on into our second submission of the day, shall we? This one is brought to us by Sister from a Useless Mister. And they write, "Hey Faja, I hope you are well. I see that your streams are going strong, and it's good to see you are doing your best as a content creator. Thank you. So, here's the thing. I found out recently that my good-for-nothing dad is a son out there. So that means I have a half-brother who probably doesn't even know he has an older sister. The sperm donor called Dad told me the contact information of his mother, and according to the shitbag, he should be roughly 13 years old. What should I do? The useless idiot doesn't want anything to do with him, but I would like to get to know my half-brother at some point, and let him know that not everyone on his father's side is a piece of garbage. The issue, though, is I'm 26 years old, and it feels a little awkward for me as an adult to want to meet a child, even if he is my half-brother. So, I ask you, Faja, in this instance, what should I do? Sincerely, Sister from a Useless Mister." Well, Sister from a Useless Mister. First off, thank you for your submission. I truly do appreciate it, and you trusting me with your quandary. Now, this one is a bit of a difficult one to approach. So, obviously, we know how you feel about your father. There is no misconception there about how you feel about him. But I understand your apprehension at this particular situation, as yeah, it could seem a little bit awkward, you being an adult wanting to meet a 13-year-old. But context is completely important in this instance. You're not just an adult. You're family. You are his brother. And though you don't know him, you do have an important piece of the solution here, which is the contact information to his mother. Now, obviously, nothing is revealed here when it comes to that contact information, but I do hope that there is an email included. Although that's a little bit hit or miss. Although in this day and age, for them not to have an email, you know what? I digress. Hopefully there is an email there. If there isn't and there's just a phone number, the number one thing to do first is to reach out, is to make contact and talk to his mother. See if she consents to there being a meeting, because that is the first step. That is the first thing to do, because she is the only person that can say whether or not it'll be okay, whether or not she wants anything to do with your father's side of the family. Sadly, from what you've revealed here, he isn't necessarily seen in the best of lights by those around him. And that could potentially put a bit of a wrench in the works here. But it's a matter of approaching this tactfully. And of course, presenting yourself in an approachable manner. Don't seem too overly eager. Start off with a first contact with the mother, letting them know, hey, I am so-and-so, the daughter of so-and-so, and the half-sister to your son. I don't know them, you don't know me, they don't know me, but I'm reaching out because I would like to get to know my family a little better, and hopefully help him get to know himself and his family a little bit better. Because despite your father being who they are, and as cretinous as they may be, it is still important to know that side, and more so important for a child to know that there is good from that side, because that is half of them. Just because your father is, well, in your words, a useless idiot, doesn't mean that he needs to sit there and believe that that is part of him. There's merit in what you want to do, in helping him see, as well as potentially his mother see, that there is good in people, as more than likely people that are part of his side of the family. And it would be good for him to know, because maybe it's not just you. I don't know. There's not much revealed here, but this is also set an assumption, and we have to remember that everything in every situation needs to be taken with, as I've stated in multiple podcasts before, context and nuance. Not every situation can be judged by previous situations, nor can we use our preconceived notions to help us move forward. It's probably not the best way to put that, but if you want to, one, help your half brother whom you do not know get to know a better side of a part of them, part of that might help is you accepting everything that occurred between you and your father. In a way, I might not know what occurred, so this might not be the right route. But at the very least, not letting the animosity you have between your father add weight to the words and the experience and connection you are attempting to create with your half-brother, as well as the mother of your half-brother. I don't know if there's a proper term for that. I do apologize. But it is important for any child, to grow up knowing both sides of them in a positive light, in all lights as they grow, but in the beginning of their development in a positive light, because it is integral in the growth of their self-confidence, of who they are and their identity. Because what might blind some people in their hatred of others, or their hurt that they've experienced due to the actions of others, those words have weight, especially when there's a relationship and a child involved. And though co-parenting doesn't seem to be a thing here, obviously from what you say, he doesn't want anything to do with this child. To those that are listening, remember, even if you are going through a divorce, you are separated. It's not about the fact that you two aren't together if you have a child. It's about that child growing up with the realization that both sides of them, despite it all, can still work together for the good of that child, which is more important than anything. And if your father, who is that child's father, isn't willing to do it, but you are, good for you. Honestly, good for you. That's something that not a lot of people do. And I see it happen too often. And when it comes to separated relationships, they use their child as ammo, or they use their anger as ammo towards their child to control them, which is not necessary, because a child is not a pawn. They're not something to be used. They are someone, and that needs to be considered. And it seems like that's what you are doing, and that should be recognized and appreciated. And hopefully, the mother of your half-brother can see that. But remember, it's about approaching this tactfully and with compassion, approachability. And when I say approachability, that's going to be very subjective and very difficult to find that medium. But just be genuine. Be as genuine as you can be when you make first contact. And just let them know what you said here. You want them to know that not everybody on your father's side is like him, so that he can see the good. And hopefully that emanates forward and has a positive effect. We can only hope so much, right? Now, I do hope everybody enjoyed today's episode of Fahzaly Advice, and you found value in what I said. Thank you all so much for your time. Please do remember to like, comment, subscribe for more, and of course, Love Train is rolling on through. Choo choo. I love every single freaking one of you.
Well, everybody, that's the end of Fahzaly Advice.
I hope you did enjoy this episode and you found some value in what I said. And of course, if you are interested in participating, if you need some advice or some perspective, feel free to email the address at the end of this part. And remember, all submissions are 100% anonymous. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Need some perspective? Need some advice? Want your submission read on podcast? Well, email Fahza at fahzalyadvice@gmail.com. And remember, all submissions are 100% anonymous unless requested upon.